Hello friends, today we are going to make samosas for rice and beef. In case you find yourself with leftover food and you're wondering what you're going to do with it, it's just easy. Today you learn how to use leftover food. Now, samosas can be made out of just about anything. You can use peas, you can use minced beef or minced chicken, anything that you would want in your samosas that is leftover. But it doesn't have to be leftover, but you can still use your leftovers to stuff up your samosas. Some you can come up as cabbage samosas. But today, I'm just going to show you how I already made my sheets for the samosas. I'm going to show you how they would look, and you would check out my next video where I would show you my previous video where I made these sheets for the samosas, the pastries. If you learn how to make them, you can have samosas anytime and probably stop buying them from shops. Now, this is how my sheets would look like. I already made them. All I need to do now is cut them up to the size of my pastry, my samosas, and that would be good to go. Now I'm going to cut up my pastry to give me that nice shape for the samosas. Now if you have your pastry, you can cut it smaller if you want your samosas to be small, but the size that you cut is the size your samosas will be at. Now if I divide this pastry into 3, that means my sheet will be this size for the one samosa, and the other one will be like that size. So I cut up another one, but don't make them too small that your fillings cannot spilling out. You make them a bit wider. Now in the next video you will see how I made the pastry, but for now let's just see how I stuff up my samosas. You can cut it up into half depending on how wide your pastry is. The bigger they are, the better the wrapping of your samosa. Now, we are going to go to the next stage, which is whipping up our egg that will act as the bond for our samosas. Now I have leftover rice. Just like you would be at home finding yourself with leftover food and not knowing what to do with it, this is one way to go about it. You whip up your egg. Now you whip up your egg. This is just to bond your pastry up and do that sealing bit that you always see happening with samosas. Now my egg is ready. I'll get one of my pastries, say like this one. I'm going to first do a samosa for rice because I have leftover rice. Now it doesn't matter how your rice was prepared, whether it was fried or boiled. Now mine was white rice with a little bit of oil. So I don't know what would be in your rice, but whatever it is, you just seal it up like this and then use the eggs to do the wrapping. Now after stuffing up my egg, my samosa with rice, I get some eggs, just brush over the area that is not wrapped and then fold. This should help seal it so that when it goes in the oil it doesn't open. Now I need to also seal this area so that it doesn't open when I'm frying. Now I've finished making the rice samosa. Let me show you how I prepared my minced meat. Now in the next video you will see how I made all the preparations for my samosas. But right now, this is how my samosa filling would look like. Now this is going to be a meat one, so I put in enough. You know, when you go to the shops and you buy and your samosa seems lacking, well, when you make them at home, you put just enough of what you want, so that way if it's the meat, you can taste the meat. Now you can feel free to also add cabbage, but what I put in here was carrots, some onions and green pepper, sorry, no green pepper, and garlic, because I didn't have those things. Remember, I'm working with leftovers, so what I had at home is what I used. If you find yourself in the same position, you don't have to throw away your leftover food. You can use it to make some nice meal for your family. Now I've finished stuffing up my samosa. You tuck it in and then you do the wrap. You will see my samosa is going to be very big, and this is because I made it at home and I want it this big. Now I turn it over and brush the eggs, then I seal, because the eggs will help seal my samosa up. Now I've sealed up my samosas. This is a chicken one. Not too much eggs, because if you put too much, it could tear it up. Remember, the sheets are too thin. Eh? When you see like your sheets are very thin, you can always double them in size. See how I'm doubling mine up? By wrapping and wrapping, this would ensure there is no spillage. So I will, then you open up your samosa inside and do the filling. Now I've made more of meat samosas, but I also make more of the rice samosas so that I can have both rice and meat. If there is anywhere that you see a hole, you just seal it up with some eggs. You brush it just a little bit to bond, and that should make your samosa good to go. Now our samosas are ready, as you can see. They are ready for frying. Now these are the meat samosas, but they are also rice samosas. The advantage of making them at home is that they will be to your size, your liking. Whatever is stuffed in there is what you want in your samosa. So we turn on our heat, put some oil in the pan like you can see there, and then get frying. But as the oil is getting ready, you have to get a rack for draining of your samosas of the oil, and then you need a ladle that will help you drain them out, and then a tray. If you have a baking tray, you can use a baking tray. Otherwise, you can use any dish to help drain your oil out. As you can see, the oil is getting ready, so I need to be set to start frying my samosas. Once the oil is warm enough, then we can put. But if you put your hand above and you feel like the heat is a bit low, then the oil is not ready. You give it some time, like a minute or two, to warm up or heat up. Now I think my oil is ready. I'll put my samosa to test. You can make your samosas according to the size that you want. If you want them big, you can make them big. If you want them small, you can make them small. That's my size. I give it a few minutes on one side, then I flip over, because whatever is inside my samosa is already cooked. So if it's meat, my meat is already cooked. If it's my leftover rice, it's already ready. So once my samosa browns, I flip and my samosa is ready for serving. So we give it a few minutes, then we turn it. Let's check and see how this one looks. Well, it's still got some time. Samosas are very good because in case you're in a hurry and you need something to eat, they are good, though they take up some time making. Now in the next video, I'll be showing you how to make the pastry for your fillings. Either you want to do a spring roll or samosa, the recipe is the same. Now I'll turn my samosa to the other side. As you can see, it looks really good. The kids would love this. And if you're making your pastry and there are some parts that you take off or cut off to make this shape, you can always use them to make other crunchy bites that the kids really love. As you can see, our samosas have got a nice brown color. A sign that they are ready almost. Each side you give it about 3 minutes. Now as you can see, our samosas are ready. So we take them out and put them out to dry, to drain. I'll put them here on a rack. I'll show you later where I've put my samosas. Now, I told you about the cuttings of my pastry, that because if you have a pastry that came out, say, in a rectangle form and there are some bits that you have to cut off, you can save those ones and wrap them up with egg, with the egg that you beat, and then fry them. Because when you fry them, they would still come out nice, and this is how they would look. This is how they would look, and you can drop them in as well. Those wrappings are good. They have no stuffing inside, but the kids like biting on those ones. They are crunchy. You wait for them to be crispy, and then you can serve them to kids. Now those can be enjoyed by both adults and children. Now, as you can see, my samosas are ready. Now you put them on a rack to dry, so that when you're eating, they don't have any oil that is coming out of them. If there is any oil that has to drain, by now it will drain out. That is how you put them on the rack. As they drain, I'll turn my bites. In Uganda, we call this musiwatai. So kids, when they are buying this, they say, "Can I have musiwatai?" But actually, it's just pastry that is cut off from your samosas, the leftover the edges that you cut off, you wrap them up and bind them with eggs, and they are good to go. This is crispy enough, and the kids should enjoy this. Now join us again for more videos. Please subscribe for those of you who have not yet subscribed. And thank you, subscribers. Thank you, viewers. See you next time when we are making the pastry for our samosas. Bye-bye.